Hi there, YouTube. This is the Magnus, bringing you another Total War Warhammer online ladder battle. Today, my opponent chose the Dwarfs, which I have been seeing a lot of because they're quite good these days, and I brought Chaos. So, let's take a look at what I did here. I decided to bring Chaos Warriors with great weapons times 5 and 3 aspiring champions to help keep everybody happy. I have one Hell Cannon. I have a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire, I have a Lord on a Manticore, and a Chaos Feral Manticore. My opponent brought 3 Gyrocopters, I believe all with brimstone guns, that is correct. And then up on the hill, he took a posture here, bringing 4 Miners. He has 2 of the Thunderers, he has 1 Cannon, Ulthar's Raiders, the Grumbling Guard, Dragonback Slayers, a Runesmith, and Thorgrim Grudgebearer. So kind of presented with a challenge right out of the gate here because of these brimstone gun gyrocopters. Missiles are definitely the best answer, or super quick flying, both of which I am lacking, and to be honest, the Warriors of Chaos are lacking in general. So I'm going to start out by trying to keep his gyrocopters off of me while I move forward. I forgot, I did bring the Gorbeast Chariot. I know it's a crowd favorite, or at least I hope it is, because I love this thing. So I got that over there. So he starts to threaten with his gyrocopters. I'm going to shoot a fireball. I tried this several times in this fight. It's not good. That looks like the Hell Cannon gets a hit in there. Which is nice, but the damage is just absolutely abysmal. So I decided to push my infantry forward. I really don't have a choice at this point, and split my flyers up and kind of chase the brimstone guns and try to take as little damage as possible in the process. I think it's better to have them beat on my flyers a little bit, and hopefully I get to beat on them rather than having them eat my infantry alive before they can reach that hill, because it's a pretty tough terrain situation I'm going to be facing, and he's got some pretty powerful units, and the miners, who are dirt cheap but in my opinion way too strong for the price when you add in Thorgrim Grudgebearer. So I decided to move my cannon up. Shooting at the brimstone gyrocopters is not going to get me any sort of an equitable trade. So I want them shooting somewhere up here in this cluster, or over here, or in the middle. You know, one of these 3 groupings is where I want to be, and the Hell Cannon does not have that kind of range. Now it does have an ability you can use from time to time that allows it to redeploy and move quicker, and I'm going to actually use that twice in the push up. So you're going to see his gyrocopters get a shot on me here, shot on me there. I'll change who I'm going after and whatnot. And at the same time, I creep up my Gorbeast Chariot because I want that to be something he has to be conscious of, and it's going to be an important part of my attack vector here, since most of this is going to be, you know, straight up the hill and pretty obvious to combat. I need some sort of element of something different, I suppose, a flanking maneuver. So now, yeah, I get a little bit of a hurt on that gyrocopter, but I'm not doing much. But I haven't taken a whole hell of a lot either, so yeah, I'm kind of okay with how this has gone. I've crossed, you know, about this much field with only taking that much damage and giving almost as much back, so not bad. Every time I pause to move anything else or change the commands of my other units, he's going to get a couple of shots off on me. Every time I catch him, you know, off microing, I get a good chew on him here. But he keeps using this thing by the Ulthar Raiders or whatever, marked by Ulthar. I think that's who it comes from. But we do kill a gyrocopter, then we get a little too close, and I got to back off again. So far, just playing, and unfortunately, the Chaos Infantry is so god-awfully slow unless you bring Forsaken. And I really don't like Forsaken against the Dwarfs because they don't have armor piercing, which is a problem, and they don't have a shield, which, you know, I at least want one or the other in this kind of engagement against the Dwarfs. So you're going to see my artillery's firing. It's doing a little damage here and there. Not so good. When you look at the shot it has, it's not exactly ideal viewpoint. If he would have deployed a little lower on the hill, it would have been better for him for countercharging, but it would have made my artillery a lot more effective. As you can see, it's spending a lot of time shooting the mountain. But he's running out of time. I'm coming in close. I decided to dive in and try to just gobble up this cannon as quickly as I can. So I triple charge it, let the manticores and crew work on that. The gyrocopters and whatnot make me pay a bit. Here comes a nice shot from the Hell Cannon that actually gets into his units, and it breaks things up just in time for the Gorby's chariot to make its legendary charge through the dwarf lines. You're going to see the Grumbling Guard gets road killed, and then they're going to get into these Thunderers right away. Then I push them into the artillery, and then I'm going to push them all the way down the hill, and just going to do a lot of rotating with them. I pull my flyers back just for a moment, let them worry about my infantry. His gyrocopters obviously are afraid of my flying corps, so I make it look like I'm going to chase them, and then I'm going to take vengeance on some of his other units here, especially his Thunderers, anything with range, because that seems to be his advantage. But as you can see, I'm forming a nice pocket here, and already some of the miners are choosing to flee. His artillery's been negated, and I've severely hurt his missile capabilities. The cannon's still back there firing, trying to hit something. And over here, Thorgrim's taking considerable damage from the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. I decided to dive in with Flying Corps. The good thing about diving on Thorgrim is he's never on foot. He's always on his dumb chariot thing. Sorry if you love that, but I think the thing's goofy. But the advantage is when you dive, he's going to take each and every charge because he isn't knocked over. So again, you're going to see the cannons firing. Really, the only thing they're doing for the most part is leadership. They are getting some kills. He does a nice bombing run here. I have one aspiring champion chasing 4 units off the field, which is fantastic. Another dive comes in here on the Thorgrim Grudgebear, and my Gorby's chariot has 65 kills. It's weak. It's been beat on quite a bit, but it's still charging. It's still breaking dwarf lines. You're going to see these miners begin to retreat, as do the Thunderers here. I put a little extra punch on them. The Gorby's chariot comes in and charges in the rear of his elite units. It's going to go right through because they don't have much mass with so few units. Right now Thorgrim is in deep trouble, so I'm going to send flying after him again as well, and they're going to dive in, and Thorgrim's actually going to break before he's murdered. I don't know if I get to murder him or not. Yes, I do get to murder him. Yay. So that's the end of Thorgrim. Him and his giant throne go down, and that's going to be a win for Chaos. Now, I just want to preface this by saying this isn't a matchup I love. I'd much rather play the Empire against the Dwarfs. I just feel you have better tools for dealing with them. But here, I think because I microed my flyers well, I was able to minimize the gyrocopters, and that helped me a lot. 10, 9, 1 kills, and they got some decent damage here. I feel that had a big impact on it. If somebody was really good with those gyrocopters, though, not good game to my opponent, but I mean, if somebody had uber micro, I don't think this would have turned out so heavily in my favor, or maybe not in my favor at all. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape. The aspiring champions did well and survived, as they always do. The Chaos Warriors with great weapons are always a good choice against the Dwarfs. A couple of them were working on Lords, so they didn't get kills, but they did fine. 46 out of the Hell Cannon is quite disappointing, but given the terrain, how far it had to move to get to my opponent, because he decided to camp way in the back on top of a mountain, I'll take the 46 kills. The flying crew did what they do. Not a lot of kills amongst them, but of course Chaos Sorcerers buffs were big help. And the star of the show is the Gorby's chariot. So again, chariots once in a while can get her done. Taking a look at my opponent's army, his missiles got negated way too early. That was a problem for him. His artillery wasn't able to do much. His gyros survived, but they didn't get many kills, and I think at some point he needed to gamble them in order to give himself a chance to win. So that would really be my one point of advice to him. Parking back on that hill and moving gyros forward against Chaos really put me in a tough position. So I like what he did there. It's just the miners who are generally very good at hanging in there, just because he spent money on the gyros, didn't have as much infantry. I was able to hit them from multiple angles with some pretty nasty units, and they melted pretty quickly. So again, good game to my opponent. This isn't my favorite matchup. I feel Chaos is definitely at a disadvantage against the Dwarfs. If you have some amazing composition with Chaos or just something better, please share it with me, because I have struggled in this matchup. But when I say struggle, I still win more than I lose, but it's not a high percentage. And when you get higher in the rankings, if you're not in the top, few hundred or whatever, when you win, you may only gain 3 ranks or 2 ranks, but when you lose, especially if you lose to somebody that's much lower rank, you'll drop like 40 ranks in one battle. So if somebody just brings a decent dwarf composition, and with Warriors Chaos, for example, let's say I win 70% of the time, if that 30% of the time it's a decent bit of lower ranked players, you get absolutely murdered on the ladder. So anyways, if you enjoyed the battle, if you learned something, hit that like, slam that subscribe. I appreciate it a lot. We're well over 300 subscribers. The view count's been cool. I love how many comments we're getting. There's been a lot of good discussions, and a lot of people put forth a lot of good information. So until the next time, this is the Magnus, and I will see you on the ladder.